Hi, welcome to Friday night with CraftFancy. We are going to be doing a watercolor with Distress Oxide Inks Class, and I am really happy to work with you on this tonight. So let's see who's checking in. Brian is here with me. Brian's going to be helping me with sending out the links to products I will be using besides the kit. And he's going to be reading some of your comments to me. So if you have any questions or comments, I can try and answer them as we work along.
Hi.
There's Brian.
Just here to answer comments, drink beer, and send the links out tonight. It's all about Sheila and watercolor classes. Are you pumped up, Sheila?
I'm pumped up.
Awesome.
My cup has water in it, though.
That's right. That's why it would be watercolor classes. Right. So if there's any comments, questions, concerns, go ahead and voice them. I'll get them over to Sheila while she's focused on staying on the project. And, of course, if we miss something, don't hesitate to send another comment again. It does get mixed up once in a while with the comments flowing through. Other than that, back to you, Sheila.
Okay. So when you received your kit, you had some homework that I hope that you got to before the event today. If you didn't, I'll give you a couple minutes now to do that. One of them was to be cutting out your card toppers. I call these card toppers because they go on top of the card base. So this is a card topper. This is what goes on top of my card base. Hopefully you've already pre-cut and folded your card bases, and you've cut your card toppers out to the sizes that it says in your kit. But because we're going to be starting with painting in our pre-stamped images, this is with the Gina K. Bold Bloom stamp. I have pre-stamped these images. You're going to need 4 flowers, and I use the VersaFine VersaClair ink to pre-stamp these, and I've let them dry. So this was something that if you didn't do that now, because we're going to be painting these in now, and you need this stamped and dry. If you have a heat gun, grab your heat gun so you can dry them quickly, and we can get to painting these in. And paper towels. Paper towels is a must. Water is a must. A spritzer is a must. Some way to spritz the water onto your paper. Watercolor pencil you're going to need. And you're going to need a red, yellow, and blue oxide ink. This one's Lumberjack Plaid. This one's Mustard Seed. And this one is Prize Ribbon. And the reason I chose these colors is because they mix well. These are the primary colors. If you've ever done any art classes, primary colors, red, yellow, blue. Red and yellow can make a nice orange, and yellow and blue can make a nice green. And I felt like these particular shades made really good mixes. And, of course, red and blue make kind of a violet color. So I've stamped the images, I've let them dry, and now we're going to be painting them in. I'm going to try and follow my instructions, written instructions, so this doesn't get confusing if you need to refer to them or refer back to the video. So I am looking over to my left, and I'm going to try and follow along what was written. So we're going to apply all 3 colors of our Distress inks to our craft mat. I'm going to show you how to do that. It says using a twisting motion. And I'm leaving a little space in between too, because I only want my colors to blend where I want them to blend. So I'm just going to twist on a little bit of color in 3 spots. I love this glass mat because you can clearly see these colors, and you can mix and blend on this glass mat and clean it off with just a swipe, which is great. Makes it really easy. So we have our 3 colors. We've left space in between. We're going to spritz all 3 spots with water. So I'm spritzing on the yellow and the red and the blue, getting them wet. I'm going to use a damp brush, so it's not dripping wet, but it's damp to the touch. So here's what I dipped it in water, and I'm going to dry it off a little so it's just a damp brush. And now I'm going to apply yellow to the center of the flowers that I want to use. So I'm just going to use it like paint in the center of these flowers.
We have a question from Lee Sullivan.
Hi, Lee.
Lee wants to know, what if you don't have a glass mat? I have one, but for others.
If you don't have a glass mat, you can use a craft mat. They're slick, they're silicone craft mats. There's kind you can roll up and take with you. Because I was using a mat before I discovered the glass mat. And I really like the glass mat just because I can see where it's white. And I haven't discovered another white craft mat, so you can really blend the colors well. And the craft mats can get wrinkly because I think they're Teflon. And they don't give me this nice smooth surface, but you can use any kind of crafting mat. You can even use a large stamp block, like this acrylic stamp block, to mix and blend on. Maybe the top of your Misty you could use. Or an empty picture frame, the glass and an empty picture frame, you could use that too. Just be careful with that. All right, so I put yellow toward the center of the flowers. Now I'm going to put some, just a little dot of this red into the yellow to make an orange that I like. So I'm just pulling the color from the red and from the yellow, and I'm swirling it to make an orange that I like and I'm happy with. And I'm going to paint orange in the next layer. I'm doing an extra flower because then if one didn't work out well, that's okay. I can just go to the next one. So I'm going to paint in this next flower. So I'm doing orange on the second layer of petals on this flower. So we've got yellow in the center, and I'm doing an orange on the second layer. And if you notice, I'm not reaching across my card. It makes it more difficult. I can rest my hand on the table and turn the paper to get to the spots I want to get to. And it's okay if it, it's going to blend over. We want it to blend over. We want the colors to blend. So you can go pretty quick with this. One thing I like about watercolors is that it's not super detailed. The point is going outside the lines sometimes. And I can play around and mix those colors. See, now I got a little too yellow and I'm going back and adding a red. And let's finish this last flower. Okay. All right, and we're going to continue. So the next ring is going to be a red one. My brush is getting a little dry, so I'm just going to add a little more water to the brush. So I'm working with a damp brush. And now I'm going back in with red on the final layer of petals. And it's okay if it blends. With the orange because it's a beautiful look. It's a kind of a soft bright here. If you like a heavier red, then use more ink. If you want a softer red or a red-orange, then mix a little bit of yellow into it. Okay, there's one. Let's do this one. It's starting to dry a little bit here, so I'm going to add some more water. So using this glass mat as a palette, this one's a little more pink. So if you use a lot of water, you're going to get more of a pink. If you use less water, you're going to get more pigment on there. It'll be a darker red. Okay.
Question from Lee is that watercolor paper you're using?
Yes, this is watercolor paper we're using. This is a really nice, heavy stock of watercolor paper. And the reason I really like this paper is I can mold it. And so we're going to see how we can mold these flowers later. We can shape them just with your hands. You don't need any tools. This watercolor paper will hold the shape for you. So it's really a great paper to work with. And I've stamped on the smooth side of the paper. So I have not stamped on the one side is more textured, one side is smooth. I've stamped more on the smooth side. Okay. All right, I don't know that I'll need that extra one, so let's just call that there. Okay. We're going to learn how to highlight or lift color off of the page now. So you're going to need your paper towels for this. And we're going to need our brush to be clean. So I'm going to clean off my brush in the water. I'm using a very wet brush to put water in the center of each one of these petals. And then while they're wet, I'm going to actually put the paper towel down and lift color off. And this is where maybe Brian, can you zoom in and show how the color has been lifted off?
Sure.
In those spots.
Yes.
I'll do one kind of extreme here, so it's really going to show. So this is called lifting. And that gives us a highlight right here. Okay. So here has not been highlighted, but I'm going to do that right now. So again, a splash of water, or like a pretty heavy drip of water, where a petal might be, more rounded. And then the paper towel, lifting the color off and making a highlight there.
Marion Phillips is asking what the weight of your watercolor paper is.
Ooh, what the weight of it
Does that feel like a 60 or an 80?
It's an 80.
That's what
this
I
is
thought.
A heavy one. Yeah. This is a heavy one. Okay, so I'm happy with the highlights there. I think I might want to highlight the center. So I'm just going to add water to the centers and lift some of the color off so that yellow that's there is just a little brighter, it pops. Okay, I'm going to do one more set. Dropping a nice drop in the center of these petals and lifting the color off. So you can play around with this, adding ink, lifting ink as much as you want until you're happy with your petals. So I could go back in, add some more red on the edge of this one. So this now is almost looking like a striped flower, like a striped geranium. We have striped geraniums. Like somebody who knows their flowers disagree. And then I'm lightening up the orange a little bit on this one. So you can just keep going back in. Now, when you go back in with a color after another color's dried, that's called glazing. So you're just layering on a color, wait till it dries, layering on another color, and it'll be translucent, but you can just keep adding layers of color until it's what you like, and that's called glazing. So you're glazing when you go back over with some more color. Okay. Okay, I'm just going to take a peek at the notes here. Oh, we're going to need a little round sunshine. Okay, So I'm going to take the yellow, and for our sailboat card, we're going to need a little sunshine, so I'm just going to make a yellow circle. Then I'm going to go a little bit of orange on the outside of it. We'll cut these out in a bit. And then I want it to blend, so I'm going to make sure it's very wet so it's blending. So I have my little sunshine for the sailboat. And I'm going to lift some color out of the center so the sun is shining. Right there. Okay. Okay. I'm going to put these aside. And we're going to now mix our yellow and our blue to make green. My yellow got a little messy. It's a little orangey, so I'm going to just wipe that off. Start with some fresh yellow so we can make green.
Before you start, can I cut in here? Can
yes, please.
Look at us for a second here. So, Sheila, we got a couple new people that are kind of watching that are new to watercoloring.
Hi.
Not to call people out, but Laura Hood made a comment, and Teresa K.
Okay.
Brooks said that she purchased a kit and a glass mat, but she wants a watch first. Never tried this before.
Okay.
And Laura Hood says watercoloring is new for me as well. And I'm wondering if there's other people out here as well. Can you just go through on take a couple minutes and just talk about how easy or tough watercoloring is and how, is it simple to get into? Is it something that's going to be like riding a bicycle?
Yeah. Watercolor is very simple to get into, and my suggestion is that you dive in and you play. So just get messy, get your papers out. Don't try and make somebody a card right from the scratch. Just play with the ink, see what it does, play with the paper, play with the water, which is what we're doing today. We're going to be spritzing and dripping and bleeding. This is not an exacting type, a very precise type media. It's designed to blend and drip, and we're not watercolor painting as a fine artist would watercolor paint. That's a whole nother thing, and that's I would say very challenging because watercolor are unforgiving and they go wherever they want to go. What we're learning how to do is let them go where they want to go and play with that. Play with those colors, play with those drips, play with those highlights. Very easy to get into. Again, if you can get 3 basic colors, and I like the Distress Oxides to play with the waters because they were designed for that. You can also just get some watercolor paints. But I like the oxide inks. If you have a red and yellow and a blue, you can start mixing and blending right away. But make sure you're using the right paper. It has to be watercolor paper. Otherwise, it's going to bleed. Your paper's going to rip. It's not going to do what it's supposed to do. It's going to curl the paper. So it's got to be decent paper. So if you spend where you're going to put your money into good paper. I think CraftFancy believes in that across the board. Good paper, good cardstock. And you can start with just one simple brush. This is a number size 4 brush. It's not too fine and it's not too thick. It's just the right size brush for doing many things. And then I have a little mist of water. We have mini misters available. What else? Are there other questions?
No, I think.
Okay.
Where'd it go? I lost it. Okay, there we go. No, I think we're pretty good there. Again, I just want to take a few seconds, take a little break, let some people catch up on what you're doing, answer a few questions. I took a couple questions offline with people, and Marion Phillips was asking if we get into paints, and I said paints are a little more on an expert level.
Yeah.
So we try to stay at the beginner level, work with the inks.
Yes.
That way, it's beginner based, and we try to keep it simple.
Yeah.
So
again, we're not doing fine art I'm not doing fine art when I'm showing techniques for watercolors. This is for
Absolutely.
journaling, scrapbooks, greeting cards, personal image boards, whatever you want to play with. That's what this technique is for.
Awesome. All right. Why don't we get back to our regularly scheduled program?
Okay.
Hope that answers everyone's questions. Again, keep asking questions. We'll take some breaks and we'll answer some of those questions. Whatever you have for Sheila, she's here. Like I said, I'm just filling in the void. Back to you, Sheila.
Okay, so we have some flowers here. We need some leaves. We're not going to be using these swirls right here. We're just going to be using the big leaves. So don't worry about the swirls being perfectly stamped. We're not using those on these cards. If you saw the samples when you ordered your kit, you'll see we're just using the big leaves. We're not using the swirls.
I got an important question. I'm sorry, I'm going to break in here again really quick. If you could look up and just answer Kathy Kemp. Mm-hmm. Kathy is asking us, if stamping with your own images on watercolor paper, Versamark, emboss, what type of ink, and would it matter if using the ink or pencils to color? So I was wondering if you could answer that one really quick for her.
Well, we're going to be stamping with the oxide inks on one of the cards today. Stamped with the VersaFine so that you can see the outline and color it in. But you could also stamp with the Distress Oxide Inks, which we're going to do. And yes, you can also use the pencils. If you're talking about, are you talking about the Distress Oxide pencils, watercolor pencils?
I believe we're kind of just talking maybe about the outlining since we're talking about the stamping.
But you can color your stamps with those pencils. Yes, you can dip the pencils in water and you can color with the pencils. I love the pencils just as much as I love the inks. They're both compatible back and forth. And the pencils you can draw onto the glass mat and spritz and use those as paint also.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. And then I definitely thank you very much for answering that.
Yeah.
And I just want to say thanks, Mary Jane, for tuning in tonight. Mary Jane's joining us along with Kathy Kemp, Laura Hood, Marion Phillips.
Hi.
Got a bunch of them.
Great.
But just learning what to stamp image with so I won't bleed with water. Thank you. So
okay. So the VersaFine Clair will not bleed with water. The Distress Oxide will bleed. It's meant to. So you're going to want something, you're going to want this for it to not bleed with water.
There you go. All questions answered here on the CraftFancy channel. Back to you.
Okay, I'm going to make some green. What colors make green, Brian?
If I remember my color wheel right, that would be yellow and blue.
Good job. Yellow and blue make green. I think there was a song about that.
The only song I remember was Conjunction Junction, What's Your Function? And I'm just a bill sitting here on Capitol Hill.
I'm going to do my leaves in this. Oop, this one's kind of dark. All right, this one turned out more dark.
It's okay.
So on the next set, I'm going to add yellow, but this set will be darker. That's okay. Again, I can go and lift color out. So this is a good a tool right now, a chance right now to see how we're lifting that color out. And it's okay if I go outside the lines because I'm going to be cutting this flower out anyway, so I don't mind. It's fine. It's all good. Okay. So here we go. We're going to jab some water. I'm really getting this really wet because I didn't want these leaves to be as dark as they are. And I'm lifting color out. Ooh, now I like that much better. Now I can go back in with some of the yellow down the veins on the leaves. Yeah. Highlight that with the yellow. I chose this stamp because I felt it was easy to color in. Kind of tells you, kind of speaks to you where you can color these in. Okay, I'm happy with that one. Moving on. Let's start, I think I'll start these leaves with yellow. So I'm going to completely do yellow. Only the larger leaves. Okay, and this time I'm going to go back in with the green on the spines, and let's see what kind of effect that gets. That's kind of nice. That bleeds in a really neat way. I might want to go around the edges on that. Just the veins. And I'm going to lift some color off the center of the leaf where I feel like it would be curving.
Now your paper towel, is your paper towel wet or is it dry?
My paper towel is dry. I have a few paper towels here because they will be getting wet. Okay, and then maybe I'll mix a light green, pull some blue into this yellow. Let's mix a light green.
And then while you're doing that too, one of my other questions is, I notice you keep using paper towels. Do you always find a fresh spot on the paper towel, or do you just, does it not matter? Are you worried about
I am
color?
finding a fresh spot, and I don't want them to bleed right now. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and for the environmentally conscious, at home I'll just use pieces of white rag so I can wash them, and not go through quite so many paper towels.
How long have you been watercoloring, Sheila?
Oh my gosh, I can't remember a time when I didn't paint or color. So my whole life.
Okay.
And watercolor is my favorite because I like the way it does things. It surprises you every time you use it. The way it'll bleed or blend. It might surprise you in a not good way, like, ooh, I'm not sure about that. But it usually surprises you in a fun way. So that's what I like the watercolors. Okay, I got my leaves done. I got my flowers painted. All right. I'm going to let these dry, and we're going to move on to the next directions, which is card A, the window card. So I'm going to set these aside to dry a bit more. And I'm going to clean off my workspace. Again, with the watercolor and these inks, the cleanup is so easy because it's water. So easy. Okay, we're going to apply yellow and red, leaving some space between the colors. And we're going to use a brush to blend the yellow and the red and make a little orange in between the two. We got a little orange going here. See on this nice white background, you can really see those colors. A lot of fun. I'm going to spray my 5.5 by 4.5 topper. 5.5 by 4.5 is the one we're going to grab right now. Let's see. Here it is, 5.5 by 4.5. We're going to spray it until it's really damp. And we're going to spray our inks too. Let's see, is it wet enough? Maybe a little more. Okay, so this is like tie-dyeing or dip dyeing. So I'm going to dip my card into some yellow and some orange and some red. So here's where the messy fun part comes in. Okay, I think I want more red over here. I think I want more orange over here. So I want this to look like kind of a tie-dye background. And I will be cutting the middle out of this card, so I'm not too concerned about the center, but I want this to drip a little bit more, so I'm going to get it wetter. There we go. Okay, so we're dripping. When it bleeds, that's called bleeding. When it's dripping, it's so wet it's dripping like that, and that's okay. Now I'm going in with my paper towel. I need a different one. And see if this is the result I want. Ooh, I really like that. I don't know if anyone's up to this spot with me, but did you pull back your paper towel and say, ooh, I really like that? I hope you did. Maybe your hands are too busy to be typing. But it's the effect that I want. Really nice. So you can repeat these steps, spraying, dipping, swiping, swirling, until it's what you want. And of course you can do this with other colors. I like these colors. Now my card is still damp. Using the blue ink, the Distress ink now, I'm going to stamp the flowers on. I'm only going to ink up, I'm using the little one because then I can just ink up the flowers and the leaves that I'm using. I'm not using the swirls, so I don't really need to ink up the swirls. Well, this is inking up with the prize ribbon blue. I'm going to give my card a little spritz again because I want this to bleed when I ink it up. And I stamp. I'm going to do one, and then I'm going to do another about here without inking it up a second time. Beautiful results. Now I'll ink it up again. And you'll see the blue where it hits the red is turning purple a little bit, and where it hits the yellow it's turning green a little. A lot of fun. Okay, I'm going to do two more. I think I kind of want one over here. And one up here. Let's do one up here. Kind of off center. Yep, that's good. I like it. Okay, so stamp your leaves and your flowers wherever you want on that card. I think the blue got a little heavy here. So I'm going to lift, like we did before, we're going to lift some color off of it by spraying it with water, pressing the paper towel, lifting some color off, giving me a little bit of a lighter blue, not such a heavy blue. Yeah, that's better. I like that better. Okay, we're going to let that dry because we need that dry enough to cut a hole in it in a bit. I'll put that over here. Let that dry. It's so pretty. Okay, we're moving on to the directions for card B. So we need the yellow and we need the red, but I want to start fresh here because I want space between the yellow and the red. There is a reason for that. Yellow, and I just want a little bit of the red. Let's wet those inks. And we're going to be using the textured side of our watercolor paper card, and the one we're using is the 5.5 by 4.5. Yeah, 5.5 by 4.5. Because this is going to be the bottom of this card here. 5.5 by 4.5. This one. And this is going to be my sand, what I want for my sand. So I'm going to use the brush on wet paper. And I do want it to blend and bleed. A little bit this way. I'm going to go back in. So there's just a hint of yellow for sand. Not super bright, just a hint. Okay, again, I'm going to do this bottom. And I'm going to add just the tiniest bit of red down here at the bottom to give me some orange highlights. Get it wet. And blend it with the paper towel. Okay. Think a little more. In here. So this will end up being the bottom of this card here. Okay. Now, you had option to pick up the Distress Spritz. And this is fossilized amber. It's a beautiful golden, more of a shimmer than a sparkle. Don't know how well that picks up with the lighting. But I am definitely going to add some of my fossilized amber spritz at the bottom of this. And I don't want to lift that off. I just want to leave that to dry. Again, leaving it to dry. I'm running out of space to leave it to dry. Okay. We're now going to be working with the blue. So I'm cleaning the fossilized amber and the other inks off the mat. Before I start with the blue, are there any questions?
No, Sandy Scott joined us by saying it was a good technique. Thanks for teaching. I responded back by telling her, I'm glad she's happy and thank you for watching. Lee Sullivan says that there's some forgivability with watercoloring.
A little bit, yeah.
Laura Hood on the second card was saying that this that it was pretty, and Lee was saying that as well. So you seem to have your people inking, watercoloring away there, so everything seems to be really going.
Great.
So if you do like that, guys, be sure to check out some of the links in the comments earlier. If you are just joining us, we are live on Facebook and on YouTube right now on the CraftFancies. We are doing the watercoloring class with Sheila tonight. Sheila's doing 3 wonderful cards during her class and showing you all the techniques and tips that you want to learn and just go with. Also, too, guys, if you haven't, I don't know if I can do this or not. Let's see if I can do this. Let's see if I can go here. Hold on. Let's see if I didn't really test this out. No, I didn't. Hold on. Capture CraftFancy. There we go. So if you guys check it out, you can go to CraftFancy. If you're interested in the class, I believe there are still some class kits available. For those that are just kind of watching, you want to go to custom card and scrapbook kits under shop. Going to scroll down there, and it's going to be right there. Watercolor with Distress Oxide Inks with Sheila there. It's going on live right now. If you guys are kind of sitting there riding the fence going, I don't know if this is something I really wanted to do, but I'm thinking about it. Well, here's your chance to get it. I know there's a couple kits left. Not a lot are left. We sold a good amount of them. And the video is live now. And you guys can just go along. And again, beginner note for everybody. Remember, if you get into a troubled spot or you get a little nervous, just stop. Don't worry about it. Just kick back, relax. Always just watch us. And then you can always go back to the replays, which are on Facebook and YouTube. And then you can always go through it all the time. If there's any questions, you can always give a shout out there. We're watching the streams. I'm answering questions, shooting links up. So if you guys have a question of what it is that we're doing or how we're doing it, let us know either way. We'll be able to answer that. Sheila, are we okay?
I'm okay. I just have to run 10 feet away and grab another piece of watercolor paper.
Holy cow, another watercolor paper. Okay, yeah, go ahead. Then I guess I'm just out here talking away. So, all right. So hopefully everyone's having a good Friday night tonight. Hopefully you got your ice cold beverage. Hopefully you got your watercolors, and we're crafting along with CraftFancy tonight. So
okay,
we are here and
back.
You're back. Okay, and sounds like she's opening something up right now. We're going to let her give her a second to get all going.
Got it.
Guys, and remember too, you can always go back to craftfancy.com. Be sure to check us out. Just hit the shops. Like tonight, we're using the inks. You can go check out the all the different kinds of inks in there. For the watercolors, we got VersaFines on there. We got the Distress Oxides. You guys can check those all out. We have all those ready to ship out for you guys. We're not shipping out tonight, but we'll definitely ship out tomorrow morning. So you guys can check that out. Be sure to check us out on our kits. And let's see the other. Oh, look at that. That's my Facebook page. There we go. And then again, you can just check us out. So we have the watercolor, the glass mats in stock, and everything else. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
There it is.
Sorry, I ran out of my spare watercolor cardstock.
It's okay.
Having too much fun.
Welcome to live. Welcome to live. Hello, Penny Clark. Thanks for joining us tonight. And anyone else that just jumped on, because I saw a couple more people jump on. You are watching CraftFancy tonight. And with the CraftFancy, you're watching us do the watercoloring class with Sheila. And we are getting ready to start our third project right now. Is it our third project already?
Well, we're rotating because we're waiting for things to dry. So as one thing's drying, we're moving on, and then we'll come back to it.
Okay, that sounds good. So yeah. I'm going to hand this over to you. Go ahead.
Okay, so I am at where it says Card B Sailboat on your instructions page, and we have already done the base with the yellow and the fossilized amber spritz, and that is drying on the side. And now we're going to be doing our background, the blue and water for the water. We want the watercolor paper very, very wet. So I'm going to be spritzing. So this paper's super wet. And I'm also going to spray my ink, so that's wet. Playing with the water. And I'm going to brush this super wet ink onto the super wet cardstock. Oh, I don't like that. Let's try this again. I wasn't happy with the cleanliness of my brush. I was putting some green in my blue. There we go. We want blue, blue, blue. Okay. So I'm brushing that blue on there.
So
now I'm using it heavier at the bottom because that's where I kind of want the water, the piece that looks like water. And I'm going to be doing some lifting at the top where I want it to look like clouds. So I'm going to spritz the top a little. Get more paper. Here we go. I want that to look more like clouds, so I'm going to come in with the paper towel, and that gives me beautiful puffy clouds. Yes, did you have a question?
I kind of did, but I'm afraid to ask my questions because I don't want to get laughed at. But I'm going to ask it anyway. So I'm watching you with your brush. Is this something you could use the blending brushes on as well? Because
This is not something you could use the blending brushes on because of the way they hold or release water.
Okay.
I'm not an expert on what they're made out of. You know, what kind of hair they're made out of. They also wouldn't be the right shape.
Okay.
Because you do want a little bit of a detail and a point now and then. I mean, you could play with the blending brushes and the watercolor. Today we're not.
Okay, fair enough.
I am up for trying anything with anything. I haven't done it.
Okay, fair enough. I just wanted a simple question.
Yeah.
Simple questions get simple answers.
Yeah, watercolor brush. Okay. I'm happy with this. You might want to try doing this drip effect. So let's show how that works in the area where I want water, as in like lake water. So I want this to be pretty wet down here. And I'm going to spray it and let it bleed. And let it drip and blend there. It's making its own line. Let's cap that off. Okay. There we go.
That's like the cleanest glass mat that I ever seen.
Okay, now I'm going to completely dry this because I want to show you how we're going to tear. I like the tearing effect because it gives that nice white foamy, edge, like a wave-like edge. And so you really have to pay attention here. So you might want to stop what you're doing and watch the screen. You're always going to tear the paper toward you. And when you tear the paper toward you, what will be left is a white edge. So if I want a white edge down here, I need to hold one side and tear the paper toward me. This is very wet. A little bit easier to tear it when it's wet, but maybe damp but not quite so wet. Okay, so I'm tearing to give me that ocean wave look. On this side. So this is going to be my bottom. Now, in order to get this torn look on the other side, if I do this, I won't get it on this side. So I have to flip it. And I'm giving myself about an inch, inch and a half, inch and a quarter, so that I have this strip here when I'm finished. So I'm holding it down, I'm using one finger, and I'm tearing toward me, so I get this nice white edge. Okay, so this is the strip that we're going to use on our card with the two white edges. Now we're going to put this aside to dry. A lot of putting aside to dry. And what are we returning to? Okay. The Wonderful Day card, which is this one. Okay, so hopefully you have pre-cut Have a Wonderful Day out of your Doodlebug paper. This piece, Have a Wonderful Day, because we're moving on to this card here.
And that's for the people that purchased the kit.
People that purchased a kit would have this piece of Doodlebug paper in there. I'm going to pull out my card base here. Okay, I did pre-score it. And I'm going to, where are we? White. I want the 5 1/4 by 4 inch topper for this. 5 1/4 by 4 inches. When I pre-cut my toppers, I always write what size they are on the back so I remember what I'm using for what. We're going to put red ink on the mat. Spray with water. Blend with the brush. The brush is really dirty. So, and then the brush. Now I'm going to use this brush, and I've already kind of cleaned off my stamp again with water and paper towel from when we used the blue. I'm going to paint directly on the stamp. I'm going to paint my flowers with this red. I'm holding my brush sideways so that I can make sure that I hit all the edges of this stamp instead of going inside all the creases where it won't stamp. Could you use a brayer roller to do this? Possibly. But since I have the brush here, I'm just going to use the brush. And now we're going to be stamping right on here with the red Distress ink. Okay. The reason I'm not stamping straight in is because I only want the red of the flowers right now. I don't want to stamp the leaves or the swirls. So I just want to ink up the flowers that I'm stamping there. Maybe this way. Do second ink there. I'll do this a couple more times. Here's the look we're going for right here. I'm leaving some space so we can come back in and do some leaves. I might need to put down some more ink. Let's do here. And ink. Does anyone remember, or did anyone have those books that you would get when you were a kid, and it was a paint with water book, and the pictures were already there, and all you did was add the water, and then all of a sudden the paint would appear on the page? Kind of what we're going to be creating here. So this could even be a fun thing to do with kids, nieces, nephews, grandkids.
Grandkids.
Yep. Stamp up some things. You have them hanging around. Stamp up a few cards for them with the Distress Oxide inks. And then they'll be able to paint in those things with the color that's already there, just with water. Okay. So I think this is about, yeah, I like it like that. It's about what I want there. Okay, let's see if this is drying a little bit. Okay, now we're going to use a damp brush, not a super wet brush, but just a damp brush. I think my brush is still damp. Yeah. And I'm going to use the ink that's already on there to fill in the flowers, paint the flowers in it. So I can just, I'm putting some water on the mat here because I want just a wet brush and not a red brush. So I'm just trying to clean this brush off a little bit. There we go. I just want a wet brush. There we go. Okay, so I'm just going back in with water, and it's reactivating that ink. And you gotta let it do what it wants to do. It wants to bleed and it wants to blend, and that's the effect that we're looking for. So let the inks do what they want to do. So again, this would be really simple for kids. Just give them some water and some pre-stamped things, and they can go in and paint them with just the water. Turn the card. Okay.
You're quiet. What are you thinking there, Sheila?
I'm thinking that I would like to go back in and do the highlights real quick after I fill in the flowers. I'm almost done with one more flower. But I'm going to do all the highlights of I might as well do that. All right, putting a little water down. I'm going to drip in some spots where I want some highlights. I'm not doing the middle because we're putting that sentiment over the middle, so you don't need to do the middle right now. And I want to pull some color off so I have a softer look. So I feel like I need to pull some color off over here. It's a bit heavy. Okay. We're going to do the same thing with the leaves now. So mat's getting cleaned.
While you're cleaning that up, let me just jump in. Hello, Helen. How you doing? Yes, you missed the beginning, but that's okay. Don't worry about it. You can always go back and check it out on YouTube or on CraftFancy Facebook. Either one, CraftFancy Facebook or CraftFancy YouTube videos, all there. Thanks for joining us today. And to answer your question, yes, we are using watercolor paper from Ken Oliver today. We're using his paper. So it's about an 80-pound weight, and you'll be able to do all your watercoloring there. We're using VersaFine for stamping our images, and we're using Distress Oxides for the inks. Other than that, you're going to have to go back and check us out on the videos. You can do that, but Helen, of course, you can always ask questions. I'll answer them all night long for you. Your instructor tonight is Sheila. I'm Brian with CraftFancy, and I hope you guys are enjoying your night. Back to you, Sheila.
Okay, so we painted in our flowers on the stamp. Now we're going to paint in our leaves on the stamp. I'm only going to work with these two because we're only going to need a couple leaves on here. And I'm going to try and keep it really light. So I'm just going to pull some blue into this yellow. Kind of a lime green there. A kiwi green. And I'm just painting that right on my leaves right here. Okay. I'm going to stamp some leaves. I left some spots so I could stamp leaves. Some here. And let's see. There. There. Coming in at the top. And the last one. Let's do one. Okay, and we're going to do the same thing we did before. Coming back in with water to pull the color into those leaves. That reactivates the ink. Okay. We're going to take this yellow pad and we're going to ink the edges of this card topper. This is how I ink the edges. It's a nice sunny bright feel there. And don't worry about the curling of these cards. They'll straighten out after they dry. They pretty much straighten out. Okay, where are we? We've done the green, we've done the ink, we're letting it dry. We're going to complete the first card. We're going to complete the flowers and the sun. Oh, here we go. So, fussy cutting. Woohoo! Let's hear it for fussy cutting. I can hear groans. The trick to fussy cutting is to turn the paper. Have really good scissors. These are Cutter Bee scissors. I really like these. They have really super detailed points. And if you just turn the paper, it makes everything easier. And also, like pre-cut the shape out so that you're only working with that one small piece that you need to work with. So you don't have all that extra paper hanging around. Okay, so I've cut out my sun. Sun's ready to go for the boat. And I'm going to want 3 flowers, 2 of the little ones and 1 of the big ones for this card. So first I'm just going to cut out a smaller piece to work with. I'm also going to want the 4 leaves on this one. this. I'm turning the paper. Now, because we're going to be shaping these flowers, I'm not just going to go around the edge. I'm going to go all the way up to the the second set of petals, the ones that we did orange, so that we can shape these petals. So all the way up to the orange, and then we're going to be able to shape these. See how I'm turning the paper, not my hand? That makes it go pretty quick. And any painting mistakes that went outside the lines just don't matter. All the way up on those petals. I'm going to show you how to shape them. All the way up. Okay, so here's how I shape them. This watercolor paper is really great for molding the paper. I want to make sure I have those separations between all my petals so that we can mold them. Yep, I got it, got it. Okay. I'm literally just rolling it around the edge of my finger. One up and then one down. So kind of a mountain fold and a valley fold. Same thing with the leaves. I can kind of curl one up, one down. You'll see how nicely this paper molds. Down, down, up. Squeezing it, molding it, makes a nice shape. And the little one down, one up, one mountain, one valley. Mountain, valley. Okay, so give some shape to that flower now. I know some of you might have the not a ball bearing, but the ball tipped paper shapers. Those would help too on a small foamy surface, spongy surface. But with this paper in particular, you can really just use your hands. Works really well.
I have a question. Do you recommend going around and creating a black outline on that card, or do you prefer the white?
On this particular card, I prefer the white because it's
taking your marker or one of those the black.
Yeah. Oh, for the flowers?
Yeah, around the edges.
No, but you can. You could do the edges with black. Absolutely. Yeah, I like, for these, I like more of a messy watercolory tie-dye look.
Okay, fair enough.
For this particular one. But again, your art, this is your own personal art, so it's your personal preference. Okay, need one more of the smaller flowers for this that I'm going to tuck in underneath. So I'm going to cut one of these small ones. How are we doing with the keeping up or the cutting? Doing okay? Am I going too fast?
I think it's doing pretty good. I haven't heard anyone say, hold on a second. So
yeah, because you can always go back and watch later. Okay. Yeah. So this flower, again, one up, one down, one up, one down to shape it. This flower is going to tuck underneath this one when we apply it to the top of this. Okay. But we're not applying it yet because we're going to cut the flowers for the next card. And it's just one nice big one. So I have one nice big one here with one set of leaves. Let's get that cut out. I want to shape this one too, so I'm going all the way up those petals. I only want one set of leaves on this, so I'm cutting off this extra set of leaves. The reason I always stamp and paint more is because if one of them didn't turn out the way I want, then I have a backup, or I have an embellishment for maybe a summer scrapbook page, or if you're doing a journal or smash book, something like that, then it's always fun to have the extra embellishments ready to go. If you're going to get all this stuff out and start playing around with it, you might as well make a few things. That's what I think. Okay, so there's the one for the other card. These are my extras. I'm just going to put these on the side. Clean this up. Clean up my mat. Okay. So now we're going to go to card A. Card A. I'm trying to follow the directions right now on the side so we don't get confused. Is our window card. Here's our window card. And I chose to use the little lighthouse in there because I thought it looked nice with these colors, and it says "You Shine Bright." So again, these are on your Doodlebug page. There were some other choices that would be cute. This little flamingo, or this little "Hello Sunshine" also works really nicely with this. So today, how about we do "Hello Sunshine"? So "Hello Sunshine," and I wanted to show through right here in my window. So that is where I'm going to stick it down. I'm using the Easy Runner Grand by Scrapbook Adhesives by 3L. This is where I want it to go so that it peeks through right there, like that. And now we're going to find our painted topper, which is this one. Aha. And we're going to tear around the edges of our painted topper, and then we're going to die cut the hole in the middle so we can see through. But first, let's tear the edges. So the same technique we used before. We're ripping toward yourself so you get that nice white edge. If you don't like that torn look, use it as is, trim it, ink the edges, what have you. I like the torn look for this particular laid back, summery feel. It's easier to tear when it's damp. This one's already dried a bit, so it's fighting back a little bit. Okay, there we go. And I'm going to show you how we line up the hole in the middle. So this is going to be on the front of my card. Let's tear a little bit more off of this one. Doesn't stick out. That's where it's going to be on the front of my card. I'm going to hold it in place. And I'm going to just trace where I need the hole to be. That's where I need my hole to be. So, pulling out that circle die. I'm going to pull that die cut machine up over here and we're just going to run it through. So many things going on over here right now. Check this out real quick. Know exactly what it looks to be. I'm going to use a little bit of this low tack tape. Brian, is this called low tack tape on the website?
Yeah.
To hold my die in place.
It's I believe it's the Spellbinders.
The yellow?
Yes.
I thought it was a CraftFancy.
Let's take a look. No, it's the Spellbinders Best Craft Tape.
This little one. Okay, noise. I have that hole where I want it to peek through. Perfect. Now I can adhere front of my card. The sunshine's peeking through. And now we have our little flower. I'm going to put this flower on and then show you how we're going to make this flower even better. And I'm using a Cosmic Shimmer Flake and Glitter Glue. And I'm going to have it just, slightly over the edge there. Okay, so I told you you needed 4 flowers because we are going to pop up the center of this one by adding another layer. So I want another orange, the second set of petals, or the smaller set of petals on this. I'm going to fussy cut out of here so I can layer this flower. And I'm doing the same thing. I'm going up the petals so that I can fold them up and give it a little texture. Pop those up a bit. One up, one down, one up, one down. And we're going to pop this one right in the center of this one. Okay, and we're going to finish this off with one of the little pearl blings that you got in your kit. Okay. There we go, card number 1. Finished. Fun. This might be a nice sunny card for someone who maybe isn't feeling so well. Like sending them a little sunshine. Okay, we're going to do card B, which is our sailboat card. My blue is still a little damp, but we'll work with it. So I'm going to put the blue over the sand base here. Let's pull out what we're doing so you can see that. Use our strip of water. And turn it about here. Hopefully you've pre-cut your little sailboat. Mine is right here. And I'm going to use
Penny Blaylark is asking. Penny Blaylark is asking Sheila that Penny cannot fussy cut anymore due to carpal tunnel in both wrists. Are there any die cuts for these flowers?
For this particular Gina K flower, I am not sure. We would have to look that up.
Right.
But there are definitely dies that come with flower stamps.
Right.
And I know we have some.
So even if it's not this particular card, Penny, you can always do a card that has a die cuts. Do a stamp and a die cut with it.
And I know with this doodle bug, these little boats do come as die cuts in a little packet. The little boats, little flamingos, all these little characters that we're seeing on the journal boxes on this sheet do come where you can just grab them out of the kit, pop them on.
This particular stamp does not come with the die.
Okay. So we're going to put the boat in the water. I'm lifting up the waves right here on the top, or what I'm calling the waves, so that I can tuck my boat in behind them. Right here. I've used pop dots on my boat, so it gives it a little dimension. I'm going to put on my sunshine. Right there. And you could do any sentiment on this. The one that was on the Doodlebug page was it's all about the journey. But, you know, bon voyage or thinking of you, happy birthday, a nice masculine happy birthday card. It's all about the journey is also nice for someone who's going off to college, graduation. Okay, and now we're just going to add our little pearls on the bottom. I like to vary the sizes. So I've used some of the bigger ones and some of the smaller ones. And here. And I like using the pearls rather than the bling because they have more of a beachy feel than something that's, you know, super shiny. Okay, that's our second card. All right, let's go back in to have a wonderful day. So we've got our have a wonderful day. We've got the topper to go right on. The yellow base. Let's put that down. Okay. Then you're going to put down your sentiment. I'm using an older piece of I'm reusing a piece of sentiments today. Now I'm going to glue down my flowers. These two flowers here. And then we made that extra little piece, which I'm going to tuck under This one here. And all of these get a little pearl also in the center. Pearl. 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 There we go. Okay, so let me know if you enjoyed this, if you like the watercolor type things, if you like playing around with the Distress Oxide inks, if you'd like to see it done in a book, an album, a scrapbook, if you would like a technique class, not necessarily making a card, if there's other things you're interested in, I'd love to hear it. Brian would love to hear it. We'd all love to hear what it is you're looking to learn, and hopefully we have the tools and the technique to teach it to you.
That's it. So what do you think? How did you do? Did you do all right?
Are you talking to me?
Yeah, who else am I talking to?
Our audience. I think we did great.
Good. Well, we'll find out. The jury's out.
I think we put a lot of information out there. And there's another class coming up. There's a couple classes coming up, but the next one that I'm doing is going to have a magical theme because it's close to Halloween. Not necessarily Halloween cards, but a magic theme. This is going to be on September 21st. And this is using one hat die. We're going to be able to do all these different shapes and things using one hat die. This is a hidden mouse. We know we like that guy there. And this one's a little shaker card. So, magical birthday cards for your October birthdays. Or your little ones. Little Halloween card. Best friend card. Best witches you could put in here. A lot of kinds of things you can do with your magical theme cards. So hopefully you'll join me for Hat Tricks on September 21st.
That's right. And that's in the one-of-a-kind group, and you're going to be able to check that out. The class kit's here on www.craftfancy.com. Click on Shop, Custom Cards and Kits. And it's Hat Tricks plus a Treat class kit. So you guys want to go ahead and do that. Sheila will be doing a class in the one-of-a-kind group and on the CraftFancy channel on 9/21. All right. Well, today we did 3 wonderful looking cards. Well, it's not my class, it's your class. Go ahead, wrap it up, Sheila.
We did 3 fun watercolor cards. I hope it inspired you to play with the watercolors, to play with the Distress Oxides, to tear your paper, drip your paper, bleed your paper, glaze and lift and do all those fun things. Play around with it first before you decide to do a finished product, and then you won't get frustrated and you'll just have a lot of fun with this and get artsy. All right, so I'm ready. I'm ready to go home and have some dinner tonight. How about you, Brian?
I'm definitely getting ready. I'm tired. Full day of work, full day of crafting now, so I'm on crafty overload, so I don't know what to do. So, but all I know is we got to get going because Saturday's coming. It's going to be busy in the store as it is every Saturday. So again, Sheila, thanks for taking time out of your schedule to teach your class tonight. Sandy Scott's saying it was a great class. So we know that when Sandy talks, it's valid then. So we know it's a good class. So
thank you, everybody, and hope to see you real soon.
We'll catch you later. Remember, be sure to check us out. We'll be the CraftFancy. Don't know when we'll be on next, but we're going to show you something and do something fun. So till next time, be safe, and we'll see you real soon. Bye.